Caroline Kangogo is expected to be conducted. They're waiting for government chief pathologist, that is Johansen Odwor. I want us to come back to studio and just continue with that conversation. Stay with me is Dennis Nthumbi, who is a political analyst. I'm sorry I cut you short, but even as we continue, yes, we are saying that the fortunes in Jubilee are dwindling.
Absolutely.
A day in politics is a lot. So when we talk about the fact that maybe they can revive themselves, what exactly do they need to do in order to achieve what they're planning to with Jubilee Reloaded?
I think the truth is that a lot of the politicians that are in Jubilee are looking to exit, hopefully somewhere close to the elections. They're too scared to jump out now, because I'm sure if you jump out now, you'll have DCI and ACC on you. But the truth is, the president is exiting. The deputy president, who is the principal assistant to the president, and the deputy party leader, has also technically exited the Jubilee. So therefore, who is going to lead Jubilee, going forward? What is the mandate of Jubilee based on the mountain and its promises and nation building? The answer would be we don't know, and possibly nothing.
But isn't the mountain already divided in itself? The east and west?
No. By the way, the truth is that those of us who come from there, we know that those who are divided are the politicians in Jubilee. It is not those ones who are on the ground, to be absolutely honest. The truth is, the mountain is united. The Wanjiku in the mountain, the voters are united in terms of what it is that they desire and what it is that they know. I have shown you a traction that there has always been a dominant party that has swept all parliamentary seats in the mountain. So the person in the mountain, the conversation about hiring a politician in the mountain is a lie, because the mountain has always thought for itself, decided for itself, and crafted its own political future and political dominion. And now they want to be in UDA, and we saw what transpired in Kiambaa. Somebody would try and convince us that it was a 50-50. But we have seen in the parliamentary votes don't define and decide the presidential vote. It's because usually, Karine Njama even was in Hustler Nation thereabout. But I'm here to say one fundamental thing, that the independence, the thought process independence of the mountain has always displayed itself through the Kyoto principle, or through defying that what they don't find as ideal, and that is what they are going to deploy 2022.
So
and
then is the Hustler narrative ideal?
The Hustler narrative is a simple principle. It's an ideology that doesn't criminalize work. And that's the reason why UDA says kazi ni kazi. A majority, by the way, of the people in Nairobi that you see them being hawkers could possibly be Kikuyus or thereabout. It's not about using the police to demolish kiosks. It's using the police to protect anybody who wants to make a living in the country. So kazi ni kazi is the first principle, is that don't criminalize enterprise. The billionaire who is making tissue papers in Babadogo should be equalized to the person who is selling handkerchiefs somewhere. And what we need to do is expand the tax bracket to make sure that even the small business owner, even the hustler who has a boda is within the tax bracket and their business is respected. The second thing is about ensuring that economic participation in the country is for every Kenyan. Rich, poor, whatever it is. There are 17 million Kenyans today who are excluded in economic participation in the country. So the second thing is ensuring that everyone, through people, through government, through policy, is ensuring that the infinite wealth of the nation is redirected to make sure that it fits for everybody. Policy is suitable for everyone. You don't criminalize the one who is harvesting honey. You don't criminalize the one who is planting dengue. You don't criminalize the one, or you don't bring government fascism where it means that you have killed the liberalism in the marketplace and lifted up what it is that we call market democracy, that it is only a few who are supposed to transact certain nature of businesses. The third one is simple. Revive and revitalize the concept of leadership and entrench constitutionalism. Article 1 of the Constitution defines sovereignty of Wanjiku. Article 43, you'll understand that Article 43 is basically economic rights at the end of the day. So it's ensuring that leadership is suitable on Article 6 of the Constitution, that there's integrity, that there's morality, and the Constitution is realized. By the way, this is not reimagining something from the moon. This is looking at our Constitution and knowing that Wanjiku has desired to prosper, and using the same law 2010 to define and entrench that prosperity and suitability in within. And number 3 is reimagining. How do you finance development? Do you overborrow? Or if it's overborrowing, how do you then ensure that you've increased your tax net at the end of the day? So this is the leadership that desires to think, the leadership that desires to imagine and institute the prosperity and the posterity of the country, and the prosperity of that person who has never felt that they're Kenyan. They have tried to sell even a mango. They have tried to farm. They have tried to sell fish in Nairobi or any part of the country. So then, but policy in this country has never been suitable for them.
So then why not implement that prosperity in the party that you are? I mean, if you're leaving, leave. If you're staying there for the next couple of months or days, then implement it while still in the party. Why switch?
You know, that is a very useful conversation. First of all, I'm sure you're referring to the Deputy President. Ashley, the truth is, the reason why we have a deputy president in the new constitution is, number 1, not to have him as the donkey to the president, but to provide for checks and balances within the presidency, number 1. As the principal assistant and the principal advisor to the president, when the president errs, it is the duty of the deputy president to advise him otherwise. Number 2, to provide anchored leadership to the president. Number 3 is for transition. If anything happens to the president, God forbid, we have a deputy president, is to ensure that the country does not break down, the country does not suffer into anarchy. You understand? Then he has a mandate. He was in the ticket elected by Kenyans for those reasons that I have defined. And let me tell you the truth. Jubilee is failing for a particular reason, that they refuse to listen to this man called William Ruto. The truth is, if William Ruto was not where he is today, Kenya would have suffered deeply and densely in anarchy. We have one person, because Raila abdicated his role as the official opposition leader. So we have one man who is calling out the ills in this nation. And God forbid that we didn't have him. So it is for the purposes of integrity and morality within the presidency that the deputy president is there for checks and balances mainly, and for transition. So you don't expect him to function in a party that they don't like him, in a party that is full of undertakers, in a party that the main doctrine now is hate. They have abandoned the big 4. In the last 4 years, they've been telling us to throw away the constitution and bring in positions for a few. They don't care about the Wanjiku at the end of the day. Why would a man who is interested in proper leadership in this country be party to something that has failed and has failed Wanjiku? I think we owe the deputy president an apology and a thanksgiving to tell him thank you for holding Kenya together. Okay. And I'm speaking like this. You may think that I'm a member of UDA and I'm a member of Agano Party. I'm the vice chairman of Agano Party. But we recognize and appreciate democracy, where we see that something is holding this country together and we need to entrench it. And we agree with the doctrine of bottom-up, because for the first time, the commoner, the one who has been disenfranchised in this country, the one who doesn't understand what the national anthem sings, when the national anthem says, plenty be found within our borders, they don't see that plenty. But for the first time, the government is going to care about them, and policy and resources are going to principally be at their doorstep.
All right, even as we wind up, let's just go back to the Kiambaa by-election result. It was more of a 50-50. Yes, UDA won by a whisker, but going forward, it has been talked about ever since those by-elections results came out that UDA still has a lot if it is to win 2022 general election.
The idea that you can use parliamentary votes to define a presidential vote is errored. Even a researcher would tell you that that kind of thematic is not scientific at the end of the day. We have seen a place where, and even in the general elections, you can research actually, that the parliamentary vote has never defined the presidential vote at the end of the day. Statistically, there are areas where the President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto got more votes, way more votes than what the parliamentary person in Jubilee did. Why? Because there are certain key thematic decisions that somebody uses to decide who they want for president and who they want for parliament. For example, Kariri Njama, before he joined Jubilee, had 90%. 90% in terms of his suitability. And then Jubilee realized this, and they called him on the side, and I'm sure, I don't know what it is that they did, but they corrupted his mind. But they never wanted to give him a ticket. They wanted to get him out of the race. They had a candidate, and then they realized that's not going to work, and they gave him the candidacy. But the party, because the party is dead, the party pulled down the ratings of the candidate. But whoever who was on the candidate of UDA, John Njuguna, was lifted by the party. Why? Because Mount Kenya has embraced UDA as its party to sweep whoever who has disagreed with them ideologically, and whoever who doesn't believe that the prosperity of my grandmother Grace is more important than getting one position at the top that is going to earn more than 10 tea factories and 3,000 tea farmers. And that's a conversation that's permeating. This has nothing to do with taking one side or the other. This is the actual common sense that anyone, even selling maize on the roadside in the footholds of Mount Kenya, will be able to agree with. And that's the fortunate truth that the mountain has erupted, speaking ideas and not force. So it doesn't matter how many. By the way, you aggrieve yourself more by arresting the stalwarts of Mount Kenya. Okay. And I think this fight for anti-corruption, if it's genuine, let it extend to Nyanza, let it extend to Mombasa, let it extend to other parts of the country. This thing of sacrificing Mount Kenya politicians is retrogressive and harmful to the already dead Jubilee. And we don't like discussing the dead, so Jubilee should be left where it is.
All right, that's a very good place to end it. Thank you very much, Dennis Nthumbi, political analyst. Thank you for your sentiments. Well, we take a short break. When we come back, we'll be crossing over to Nyeri. Daniel Kariuki is still following up on this story.